Welcome to Startups in Action Radio and Crowd Success TV. Hi, I'm Media Mentor Mike Hayes with your Crowdfunding Intelligence Report. Would you like to stop looking at crowdfunding from the outside in and start meeting and networking with the professionals who are creating and driving this unstoppable force? Well, you can meet me at Kickercon Conference and Expo in Houston, Texas, starting August 28th. Recently, I interviewed the creators of Kickercon for my nationally broadcast AM radio shows. So now, let me introduce you to Justin Ryan and Terrell Jones, the dynamic co-founders of this exciting crowdfunding event. Okay, we're back now, and this time we have Justin Ryan and Terrell Jones, marketing director and co-founders of Kickercon.com. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having us on.
Oh, my pleasure. Very excited about the upcoming event that's going to be held on August 28th down in Houston, Texas. And there's still rooms available, I believe, at the Hilton. But tell me about what's going on right now as you're getting ready for this exciting gathering all about crowdfunding.
Oh, we're just trying to get everything completely set up. We've got everything almost how we want it, and we're at that last stages of getting the conference completed.
Okay, great. Now, a lot of people, oddly enough, as great as crowdfunding is, and as many benefits as it has, the real problem is how many people still don't know what it is, or even that it exists. So why don't each one of you tell me your thoughts on how you would describe what crowdfunding is and why people should want to know about it?
Crowdfunding is just this phenomenon of being able to easily fund something with the power of basically crowds. There's quite a few ways that you can do this, but mainly right now you've got equity and reward base. Carol, you want to take it?
Well, I think it's probably a disruptive tool now in finance. Traditionally, we'd have to be accredited investors to invest for equity-based crowdfunding or any kind of equity-based investment. So crowdfunding is basically a new take on how you finance opportunities, whether it's donation-based, rewards-based, or equity-based. It's a disruptive way of getting finance. And I think the advent of social media and the internet has broadened the scope. So traditionally, you would have to get venture capital from your local venture capitalists, and it really took who you knew within that group of angel investors or venture capitalists. Now you can start a deal in Israel and get financed in New York and California or Texas. It doesn't really matter where you are, you can invest in this opportunity. So I think it's actually broken down a lot of barriers to entry.
Well, the old saying is you can eat an elephant, but you just have to do it one bite at a time. And I kind of think that crowdfunding is the elephant in the room. It's huge. There's so much to it. There's a lot to learn. So let's break it down into two parts. Let's start with rewards-based crowdfunding first, which is now legal. It's legal now, I should say. Has been for about the last 5 years, doing billions of dollars each year. Then we'll transition into equity in just a second and some of the new things that are coming down the pike. But, people wonder, and they scratch their head and they go, I don't understand how crowdfunding could exist, why it exists, why somebody would donate. I just don't get it. And yet I read a brand new university study by a professor who basically found that today people recognize there's a lot of problems in the world and that they would actually rather help someone than just buy more stuff. And so with rewards-based crowdfunding, where you're pre-buying products, you can kind of do both. You can get stuff, but at the same time, you're helping somebody get a company started and get off the ground by pre-tailing, pre-purchasing, whatever you want to call it. So why don't you each comment on that, if you would?
So, you're exactly right. The rewards base is great for that. We're partnering with a lady named Stephanie Jelly, and she's more on the donation base. So, like you were saying, not everybody wants something in return. And that's where she comes in, and she takes charge and says, hey, we have this problem here. If you want to help, 100% goes to that problem. Rewards based is just as good if you want something in return. A lot of companies are using this for their initial funding, and then on top of that, they're able to do market research, which is perfect because you're getting both of those things all at once. Terrell?
I think all three methods of crowdfunding for right now are valid. And the reason I say that is because if you have donation based, there's an emotion attached to it. You want to help, you want to make things better. And there's just certain projects that just tug at the heartstrings of the individual that wants to invest in it. Rewards based is always good to get the product or get a t-shirt, something that you really believe in. I'll give you an example. I really believe in solar roadways. Whether I got equity in it or not, I was too late to invest in it, but it emotionally got my attention, and I think it's something that should be done. So I would still invest in it even if I didn't get equity. I like to ride my bicycle. It's 100 degrees in Texas, but I can't ride it in the daytime, so I'd rather ride at night. And that Revo light was crowdfunded. I'd love to have that so I can ride at night when it's 80 degrees instead of 100, 110 sometimes. So it just depends on what your emotion says. So those different types of rewards-based and donation-based, I don't mind doing it, and I think they have a place. I think sometimes you need proof of concept and customer validation before you go to the equity. So I think they play a role at the very beginning if you need to do design build for your product, and you just need to get that initial startup cash to build the prototype. And then I think you can do an equity round later. Why can't you do both? You can do both.
You can. In fact, let me tell you guys a quick story of a crowd success story interview that I did with the CEO of a little company called Cooly Foods, which I think is just an awesome story. Gal went over to Africa, worked in the Peace Corps, started to suffer the effects of starvation, and the locals started telling her about a little plant at Moringa. And she discovered it, came back here and started thinking about it. And then she started to get the community to gather moringa and turn it into health bars here, help them over here. Then she crowdfunded for about $40,000 on Indiegogo for Cooly Foods. Then she took the $40K to help her with the next step of equity crowdfunding, went on to then raise almost $400,000 in equity crowdfunding. That being said, so now let's transition over to your thoughts on equity crowdfunding, because I saw your letter, Terrell, about who should come down to Kickercon, and it was quite extensive. So why don't you talk a little bit about who should come down there?
Well, I pretty much said everybody, I think, in that list.
I think you did.
The way we designed our show is that we wanted to reach the three platforms, but we also wanted to reach the vertical markets that were logical. So you have your nonprofits, your churches, your schools, you have, and that's on your donation-based type stuff. So if you got a startup project, if you're a maker and you build things with 3D printing, or if you're a software developer or a game developer, that's on the software technology side. There was also the equity part, where if you want to invest in the oil and gas and get a piece of an oil rig, or if you wanted to get a piece of real estate, which real estate is very exciting for most people, because finding finance to do deals is always a challenge. So that's 90% of the deals anyways, getting finance. So we wanted to have a well-rounded event, and I like to tell people that we wanted to be the South by Southwest of crowdfunding, and sort of like One Spark and Southwest mixed together. So there's also art, music, and what else? Film.
Yeah, film.
And all these different projects that people. I mean, there's three movies two movies just recently that were crowdfunded. A Spike Lee movie, a Zach Braff movie, a Veronica Mars movie. They were all crowdfunded. So why not have it for everybody?
Yeah.
And who's to say that somebody in equity crowdfunding will see a donation-based project that they want to invest in at that type of conference? So the crowd is where we want things to happen. We want deals to happen. We want ideas to come about it as well.
I just interviewed Elton Rivas, the CEO of One Spark, who, folks, had a festival in Jacksonville, Florida, with 250 attendees. So if you're, you don't want to be behind the switch here on crowdfunding. This is something you really want to pay attention to. This is growing. It's growing very fast. It's got tremendous energy. So what kind of attendance are you guys expecting?